inside, this is where you see where the practicality of the Caddy is in. Now, this is supposed to be an MPV, multi-purpose vehicle. So basically, it can carry people, can carry luggage, and of course, in absolute comfort. Now, as you look from the design of the dashboard, clearly, as you can see, is that rough, jagged edge design by Volkswagen that was inherent over the past 8 years, and I can tell you, matters are no different. Obviously, as Volkswagen has done, it's all about simplicity. You don't have to overcrowd the eye with too much design, but this one is edgy, boxy, and stylish. And of course, the dashboard is forward-facing to ensure that you have enough space, an illusion of space. And obviously, as you can see, even from the A pillars, they're higher up, so that you have space. You can feel that you're driving a car that is spacious. You can see all around 360 view when driving this particular Caddy. So where do we start? Center console, as you can see over here, you have large air vents so that you can be able to circulate air across the cabin all the way to the back. And obviously, you do have climate control, or Volkswagen terms it's called climatronic. So basically, you're able to vary the air temperature within the cabin to ensure that everybody is very comfortable while in the Caddy, especially long distance. Now, moving right below it is where all the digital stuff happens, and this is where Mr. Murik is going to shine and give us much more detail about this. But this particular system, it actually has a radio, media. You can connect your phone using Bluetooth, and of course SD card as an optional extra in this particular car. And right below it, we have blank switches, which I assume are for different countries, but for Kenya we don't need these switches, so they are left blank in case you need to add anything else there. And right below it, you do have space where you can actually put your cell phone, and right beside it is actually where you can actually put a USB cable, auxiliary, and of course a 12-volt socket. It's been put in a very nice way so that you're able to charge everything at this particular console. Gearbox console is standard, as you can see here. It's a 5-speed manual gearbox, and it's been designed so well, and it is mashed up well with the center console, giving this car that aesthetic appeal that we all normally like. So moving over to the instrument binnacle, this is where you see typical Volkswagen style being employed across the model range. So from Passat to Jetta to Golf to Polo to this one, the design is the same. Left hand side you have the tachometer, right hand side you do have the speedometer. In between the dials you do have on the left hand side temperature gauge, right hand side fuel gauge, and of course in between there you do have a monochrome display that gives you vital information including range, distance, and your driving style, and obviously anything else that if the doors are open or anything like that. So basically, the driver gets all the visual information at a glance without stressing and looking and seeing. And of course, it's been backed up by a black on white color just to give that contrast when you're driving at night or during the day. Now, the steering wheel 3-spoke, as you can see, also very standard with Volkswagen. You probably see it as well on the Polo, on the Golf, on the Passat. But this one doesn't have satellite switches, which I presume on the higher spec model will have some of that. But again, it's comfortable enough. As you can see, it's made of polyurethane, and it feels very good. It actually has a flat bottom, like one of those Golf GTIs that you normally see on the Nairobi roads. And obviously, as you can see, Big Boy is very comfortable. The switches are typically Volkswagen. Now, it's time to hand over the reins to Mr. Miriki, who's a resident tech expert, who's going to give us a lowdown on the Volkswagen Business Radio, what this particular system can do for you. Then he's going to move to the back on the second row sitting, give you the flexibility options, and then we head out on the road and find out if this Caddy is good for your business.
When it comes to technology, it's important to remember that this is a German car. Whether or not it's assembled in Thika, it is German technology from the largest car manufacturer in the world. And this key actually says that. So it's a normal Volkswagen key. If you're used to a Golf, if you're used to a Touareg, if you're used to a Passat, this motion is something that you're very used to. You're used to putting this on the table next to your iPhone. Now, in terms of technology, we have now the normal Volkswagen Business Radio. It's a beautiful system. I like this screen. It is incredibly clear. It's a touchscreen system, and it connects, like we had mentioned, with auxiliary, USB, and Bluetooth to give you a very clear phone conversation when you're on the move. There's actually a speaker at the top here, and the voice when you're making a call comes through the speakers. It's a very easy to use system, very clear graphics, and it's something that's very familiar with anybody who has used any Volkswagen product. But the name of the game when it comes to this car is space, and there are very many places that you can store stuff in the front of this vehicle. Just to remind you that this is a car for business. So in the front over here, we have an additional storage area in the dashboard that you can put a phone. On the top here, we have a big area that you could put possibly a delivery book or something like that. Over here, we have a very large glove box, glove compartment, again for you to be able to keep any of the tools of trade that you need when you're on the move. And there is a switch inside here that allows you to switch off the passenger airbag in the event that you are to put a child seat in the front here, or any other reason that you might not need to have the airbag on over there. At the top, there's actually additional storage for anything that you might need to keep. And keeping in that theme of storage, let's check out the back, because this car is fun in the front but business in the back. Let's see what this has to offer for business. Coming round to the back of the Volkswagen Caddy, and like I had mentioned earlier, space is the name of the game over here. This seat is set to Trevor's driving position. He is 6'1", I am 5'9", and there's more than enough space for both my knees and for my feet under the chair here. In terms of storage, because I must talk about storage when you're talking about the Caddy, we do have, of course, now some 2 cup holders at the back here for people sitting at the back. There's what used to be a smoker's pack over here in the back here, an ashtray, but you can actually put other stuff inside here. In addition to that, we actually have underfloor storage under each of these seats over here, additional spaces for you to put stuff at the back here. But the name of the game with this car is versatility. It is just how much you can customize this to meet the needs that you need specifically. You can make this a 7-seat family vehicle, you can make this a panel van for your business, and anywhere in between. Let's check into the back and let me show you just how you can do that. So as you can see now in the third row, there are 2 extra seats that you can actually add capacity over here. So like I said, you can make this a 7-seat family vehicle, or you can make this a vehicle for business. Now in terms of safety, you do actually have 3-point safety belts at the back here, and each of the seats in the middle row over here actually have fixings for ISOFIX for child seats. But when it comes to business, this back end of the vehicle is where it begins to shine. Now you might have noticed that over here is actually painted the same color as the car. You don't have the kind of fittings that you would have in a normal car, and this is because these fittings that are over here are actually allowing you to customize the vehicle. So you can put rails, you can put curtains, you can customize this vehicle to do anything that you want it to do. So coming around to the back, the final thing that you need to do to turn this into a van is to open the panel doors over here that open really wide. As you can see, it's very easy to access this place, and very easy to access the inside of this because there are doors on either side. So it doesn't matter where you park. If you park at a place where there's traffic, you can enter from the passenger side, you can also enter from the driver's side, or like you can see, you can enter from the back here. You don't have to lift this up. Now, to remove these seats, the simplest thing ever. You pull these 2 levers at the same time, and the seats come out completely, giving you a big, massive cavernous situation now for the weekend. So basically you can turn this from a 7-seat family vehicle to a van that allows you to take your business further. But let's take this on the road and see what it feels like as a driving experience.
So guys, John Kazi, Big Boy Trev, like we promised earlier, it's all about the last mile connectivity. This is all about bringing cars into the market that makes sense for the transporter. Season 5 is all about getting to know the commercial vehicle industry better. It's the biggest vehicle supply in the country. Actually, close to 80% of the vehicles that are sold brand new are commercial vehicles. So today on Cars Big Boy Trev, we are sampling the light utility commercial vehicle. It is based on the MQB platform by Volkswagen. Now MQB, if you understand, is also found on the Golf, on the Polo, on the Passat, on the Jetta. So basically, it's got good road handling manners, and of course, it's very hardy. It's a very steady chassis. Up front, Volkswagen have actually used the tried and tested 1.6 liter petrol MPFI multi-point fuel injection engine that produces 103 horsepower and 153 Newton meters of torque, and all that power is sent to the front wheels courtesy of a very smooth shifting 5-speed manual transmission. Driving and handling, because this car will be used by many company reps and delivery guys, it's actually very, very comfortable. In fact, the seats have been designed by Volkswagen to ensure that you have actually very good lumbar support, and of course the bump support where you don't feel tired over long distances, obviously. And of course, you do sit upright and very comfortably without any stress. The visibility is fantastic. You can see all corners of the car without any shit, and even the mirrors are large, so that you're able to see at the end when you're reversing, if you have stuff loaded at the back, and that is so important in this particular segment. Suspension wise, this particular Caddy has front McPherson struts that are tuned to give you good handling qualities, and of course at the back you do have a torsion beam that allows you to carry extra weight. And actually the carrying capacity of this Caddy is 800 kilograms. Now in this day and era, even delivery cars must be safe. And what Volkswagen have done is basically taken the safety sense from the passenger line into this commercial vehicle. So basically this car has all the bells and whistles you can think of. So in terms of active safety, anti-lock braking system comes as standard. Electronic stability control, or ESP, keeps you safe and mitigates you from having an accident. And obviously, if all hell breaks loose, then you can rely on the steady passenger cell and 2 airbags for the driver and passenger. That should keep you safe. And of course, you have seat belts at all the seats in this car. So if you pick the option of a 7-seater, all the 7 seats will have 3-point safety belts just to keep your people safe while in the Caddy. Very, very important. It's time for me to hand the reins to Mr. Murigi. It's not an off-roader, but we just want to see how good this particular car is on our standard Maram surface, like the general Kenyan road. Does this car have good shock absorbers? Does it have good ground clearance? And of course, does it feel comfortable off-road? We're going to join Mr. Murigi.
So we can't call this a car that's supposed to handle your family and handle some business unless it can also handle a situation where the tarmac has potted for a bit, because in a lot of businesses that would require a car of this size, you're going to be taking things to the final distributor, the final kiosk, or you're going to be picking supplies from somewhere in the middle of industrial area. So we've taken this now to a bit of a challenging, rough road patch. I wouldn't call it off-road, but this simulates the kind of roads you'd find in industrial area, the kind of roads you'd find Kirinyaga Road, back roads where tarmac is a bit of a mess. And we just want to see whether the ground clearance on this car is enough to handle this. And so far, I have to say, they're doing a pretty good job. You have to remember that this has a total carrying capacity of 800 kilograms, so just under a ton. But you also have to remember that there's a lot of space with this high roof, so this can carry a lot of things that are very big but not necessarily very heavy. Just like we mentioned, there are very many things that you can do at the back over here with the fittings that you can put. You can make this a delivery van for food, you can make this a delivery van for medicines, for anything that you can imagine, because the amount of space that is over there is really quite big. You have to remember, of course, DT Dobby has a very wide range of service centers, so in case you have a problem anywhere you happen to be in Kenya, they have a wide network that can sort you out. We have, of course, this 1.6 liter 4-cylinder engine, and it gives you a lot of power. This is actually pretty fast when it's on tarmac, and the fact that we have a manual gearbox allows you to select how much power you want this car to be putting out on surfaces like this. I have to say it's doing a pretty good job for a car that doesn't have leaf springs at the back. It has the normal shocks. Of course, heavy duty suspension has been raised at the factory by 15 millimeters. Factory, of course, now is in thicker at KVM. This is a car that is built in Kenya for Kenyans. So I think it's been able to handle itself on this Maram road. Let's set this aside and talk about how this sets up against the competition. Let's go to value for money.
So guys, you've seen what we've sampled, the Volkswagen Caddy, your preferred partner for last mile connectivity. But Mr. Murigi, what are your thoughts on this particular Caddy?
Well, first things first, this is built in Kenya by Kenyans for Kenya. So this has been built for our market, in our market. This represents, of course, now a commitment that the Volkswagen Group has done for our market. These are the brand new cars that are being assembled in Thika. So this is something that we really genuinely need to support. But that aside, this seems like a very good car for business because it's doing a combi, if I can put it like that. It's a combination being a car for the family that you can use for business. So you can use it for business Monday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you can do family stuff with it because it's a full 7-seater. So I think it's a very good combination. What we're able to do also now with the different setups of the seats is to see now how versatile it is. It adjusts to fit you, which is not something I can say for very many cars.
Now, how much does it cost on the road?
Well, prices for this, now that it is locally assembled, start at 2.9 million shillings. This comes, of course, with DT Dobby's 3-year, 100,000 kilometer warranty, whichever comes first.
Finally, we know it plays in a certain category of vehicles. Who are the key rivals in this segment?
Well, we are talking about vehicles that play those dual use situations now. It can be a van or it can be a passenger vehicle, of course, now for families. Within the Kenyan market in the new car scene, we are looking, of course, at the Renault Kangoo and the Peugeot Partner as being the rivals for this car in that segment.
Wow, guys, you've seen all about the Caddy, and I can tell you this is an amazing vehicle. So if you're wondering where to find it, please visit DTW, Lusaka Road, and be able to give you a test drive, and probably need to own it because you're trying to support Kenya. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on Cars with Big Boy Trev. As always, it's a pleasure and honor. If you have any questions, comments, or queries, do not hesitate to write to us at the social media handles below. We'll get back to you next week. Well, signing out, this is Big Boy Trev.
This is Mirigi. Drive safe
and be safe.